work for you as an intern. Tell me about her. I've heard that this is what happened. I got a really good referral reference, and I did well on my interview. I was hired over the phone, actually. And so I started with the commission at that point. Another thing is, I was pregnant when I started, 6 months pregnant, which was so scary. I didn't even realize that you couldn't discriminate against people because of pregnancy. But I started pregnant. And anyway, I started as an investigator. So I worked as an investigator to my term of my pregnancy. EEOC fronted me or lent me leave because I didn't have any. And then when I came back from maternity leave, I paid it back, my leave back. So that was a really great accommodation, actually. But that's how I started with the commission. And today it's kind of hard to sometimes get students to understand that volunteering is okay. If you look at the long term of the benefits and the possibility and the recognition that you can get. I have a college student now. He doesn't listen to me all the time like that. I mean, what do I know, right? I've only been through it. So, but I tell him all the time how important internships are, voluntary or not voluntary. And I'm in Charlotte, and this is a capital of banking capital, headquarters, all kinds of things. So the competition is fierce when it comes to internships. But, we have them available, and, they should really be considered. Also, one final thing before I let someone else jump on, your colleges and universities, we also do outreach and education there. If you have a class, if you have student groups, anything where you think our information would be helpful as far as what EEOC is, or our internships or our different departments that we could share with students as they, try to determine what career fields they want to enter in the future. So that's essentially me. We're going to move right along. Hi, Monica. Monica is one of my peers, actually, and you can jump in, Monica, and kind of tell us about, your EEOC career and, what you do and what district you represent and interns that you may have worked with.
Sure. Great to see everybody. Terry, my partner in crime. I love hearing your story. So I'm with the Washington field office. I started as a secretary with the EEOC in San Francisco. Hi, Tina, remember? From there, bilingual investigator at San Jose. Really enjoyed that job. I think a lot of us are here because of the mission. We believe in what we're doing. And then enforcement supervisor, and now outreach and education coordinator. Love my job. I hope my boss isn't on the line. I would do this for less money. I'm telling you, it's just so impactful what we do. What we do really matters. It's important. I'm happy to be here. I don't want to take up a lot of time. I know other people have probably more important things to say. So that's me, happy to be here and answer any questions. Super happy and privileged to be a part of this conference. Thank you. Whoever wants to go next.
Thank you, Monica. Any, many, miny, more, or should I pick someone? Pick someone? Okay. Lavia is not here. I don't see her on here. Tina, you want to jump in?
Go, Tina.
Thank you. So, well, good morning to everyone. My name is Tina Bonaparte. So Monica is a former colleague. I am just so excited to see her on here. I am a mediator for the EEOC, and I did begin my career in our San Francisco's district office. The only position that I have held with the EEOC is mediator. I am an attorney by trade, but I love the art of mediation. I am also a veteran, an honorably discharged veteran of the United States Navy. But I, like Monica, would do this job all day. I grew up, while I did not physically attend an HBCU, I am an HBCU kid. My mother is a retired educator from South Carolina State University. And my sister is a graduate, as well as my niece from South Carolina State University. So why I do this job is I am impassioned to know that there is always a middle ground. There is always something that we have common. We can have divergent views, issues, levels of morality, beliefs, but we all share a common ground. And I'm a firm believer in that, which is why I love being a mediator. I don't have to decide who's right or who's wrong. I have conducted several outreaches at HBCUs, and I also go to high schools because I think that we, as an agency, need to tap into high school students because that's where a lot of your talent and minds are so open and fresh to develop and let them know what careers are here. And so I've, made a concerted effort to do that as well. But I love mediation currently. And I began with the EEOC in 2004 on November the 17th, the day before my mom's birthday. So I told her that was her gift. But I have been with the agency since 2004. I am currently with the Charlotte District in the Greensboro local office. So I went from a district office to a local office, and a good change. And I transferred because my mom became very ill. And so one of the great things about federal employment is there is an option to not have to lose your job, and you can still be human and care for your parents, care for loved ones, and still perform your job and do what you love to do. So I think that that's an exciting part. And so one of the things that I would say here today, sometimes there's this sample question of, do you see the glass half empty or half full? My response to that is there's no glass. A glass is an indicator that there is somehow a defined amount of space that you can either fill up or empty. I believe that this world represents unlimited opportunities. We just have to be made aware of and presented with those opportunities. And it's limitless. So my answer is no glass. So I'm excited, as you can tell, about being a mediator. I like being in the Charlotte District, particularly because it's close to my family. I have a lot of family in Maryland, and strangely enough, I applied for a mediator job in Maryland and California, and I got the call in California first. And so that's how I trekked back out there. But I served in the military in our San Francisco's, in the state of California, and was specifically positioned in San Francisco. And so, I graduated from California State University with a BA in political science and option of pre-law. I have a law degree from the University of Akron School of Law, and I am licensed to practice, although I don't practice. But that's pretty much my, my career. That's kind of my path, how I got started in mediation. My law school, because of the dockets, the heavy backlogging dockets in the courts, my law school was asked to create a pilot program in the Summit County courts to mediate small claims cases, and I volunteered. The program was successful, and now, well, I did it for free, so I'm kind of piggybacking off of Terry. It's like, yeah, you guys can do this for free and experience. And it's like, okay, I'm already a poor law student, free. But the opportunity was so great to create a program that I was on board. And so it is now no longer a program, but a process that has been married into the court system, and it's been successful. And so now the mediators there get paid, but it was something that not only was on my resume, but when I applied for the mediator position in San Francisco, there were over 150 applications for that job. And I really thought, I am, there's attorneys who are licensed. I'm just out of law school. there's no way, but it was piloting that program and developing it that allowed me to be employed over people that had many, many years. So I would say that, again, just kind of piggybacking off of what Terry said, sometimes volunteering and getting that experience opens doors and makes broad opportunities that you would not think could exist. So that is my spiel. Welcome to the world of EEOC. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Tina does a lot of outreach too in our district. So you don't have to be, as you know, Monica, you don't have to be in the outreach department to do outreach. I depend on my leaders in all the Charlotte districts to assist with outreach, and she's always doing outreach, and I love her for it. And I think I'm going to get a t-shirt with no glass. I love that. I love words, so that is powerful and limitless. And if you look at things that way, the sky is the limit. And as a pioneer for that program, like you said, volunteering and your name is recognized, and your work is recognized, and it could stand above the rest. So it's just important to remember that the ends could absolutely justify the means. Monica, did you have something you wanted to say? You had your hand.
I do. I wanted to say that our investigator, Katie, she took an interest in Spanish, and look what that led to, a bilingual position with the EEOC. So if it's okay, I'd like to introduce Katie out of our field office. Katie, you have the floor.
Sure, awesome. Yeah, like Monica said, kind of to touch on the volunteering as well. My name's Katie. I work in the same office as Monica. I'm really new. I did not start when I was 10, Terry. I started 4 months ago, 4.5 months ago, actually. Kind of an interesting path. I'm from the Chicagoland area. I don't think that I ever thought I would work in the federal government. Also different to you, Terry. But I was a Peace Corps volunteer in the Dominican Republic. I started in March of 2019. At that time when I went there, I had lived in Madrid for a few years. So I picked up Spanish. That became a passion of mine. And I saw an opening with the Peace Corps, and I said, well, it would be really neat to do this. And I got accepted. I was there for a year working as a Spanish literacy promoter. So helping set up a library, basically in a school in the Dominican Republic. And as we all know, COVID happened in March, and everyone from the Peace Corps got evacuated. So I came back to the US, and I'm not sure exactly how it works in the military. I know that there are also some considerations with federal hiring, but if you're a Peace Corps volunteer and if you complete your service successfully, I think if you're an AmeriCorps volunteer, if maybe even Teach for America, I'm not entirely sure, but you can get what's called an NCE, which is non-competitive eligibility, and it helps in federal job hiring. So I was able to basically leverage the NCE, and I applied to 3 EEOC bilingual investigator positions that were open on the Peace Corps career website. And basically I ended up having an interview, and Monica was in my interview. So, and apparently I smiled enough and they liked me enough. But I've been working as an investigator, a bilingual investigator now for the past 4 months. And I think when I saw the job opportunity open up, I said, wow, this would be really interesting. I mean, it incorporates something that at the time I was very interested in, which is kind of law and then Spanish. And I started, and I say this to my family and my parents, my sister, but I couldn't imagine a better job. I just truthfully could not. That encompasses so many things that I am interested in. I get to use Spanish pretty much every day. I love learning about law. If you are interested at all in law, like, this is a wonderful agency, and I think I'm probably gonna try to I'm really considering law school, maybe part-time, because of having started here. And it's just been wonderful. I think that the people that work at the EEOC are a similar group of people, very different, men, women, all different cultures, backgrounds, different countries. But I think that very similar minded in the sense that they work very hard and everyone has a really similar goal. So to be able to work with colleagues, that are people, also investigators, people like Monica with outreach, attorneys, supervisors, everyone's just super involved and super helpful. And I can't say enough positive things about it. The opportunities that I've been afforded to grow as an individual and to have my mind expanded with, like, in the realm of law, have been numerous, but also like my writing. I have people look at my writing. I get to speak with the community, like, every single day. I'm speaking to individuals about their cases, and I'm making decisions that really are huge decisions in people's lives, and you really want to do a good job. So every time that I go to work, I mean, I feel like I have a really big responsibility, and I'm excited to go to work every day. And even though sometimes I sit on my futon because I don't have a desk, I'm like, let's go to work, let's get ready to go. And that's just how I feel. But I don't think that my path, I feel like I stumbled into this job because I had no idea what I was going to do after the evacuation. And I got very, very fortunate that the timing was right. And I just feel so fortunate to be here. I did not major in Spanish, but it was something that I was interested in. And I think, just follow your interests. And as far as federal government goes, there's a lot of jobs. I mean, even now there's tens of thousands of jobs on USA Jobs, and there's stuff for everyone. So if you are interested in working federally, there's so many opportunities. And as I mentioned too, you can use, if you are interested in doing the Peace Corps or AmeriCorps, they're great options for kind of getting a foot in the door with the federal government. Obviously, I wouldn't do the Peace Corps and say, I'm going to do it just to get a job in the federal government, because that's, it's a time commitment. But if you're interested in something like that and say, well, I don't know if I can designate 2 years of my life or a year of my life, not getting paid. But there are some benefits that come from it after. So I would just say that, and I just really love the job. I love the office. I love the people that I get to work with.
Katie, that was awesome. It was just from the people, and it was just very it's something that I'm sure students would really relate to your story. So I'm so happy to hear how you stumbled upon us and that you're enjoying it, and that it's something that you didn't think about, but it's very gratifying. And that's a message all in itself. Monica, you picked a winner. I think some of the things that, and anyone can speak to what someone is saying, but that Katie was saying about everyone kind of having a common interest. I think when I started, it was most of the people I started with had started with the commission. They were pioneers. And so I was the baby of the office, but they called themselves radical rejects, but they were, passionate about rights, people's rights, and equality, and a lot of attorneys or legal people. And so everyone had that same thing in common. It kind of reminded me of what Katie was saying, that we're all kind of the same a little bit. So that was an awesome story. Anyone else want to speak to that? And we think we have a couple more employees. But thank you, Katie, for being here. I appreciate that so much. Michelle, did you want to speak about what you do?
Let's Lavia. I wanted Lavia to go first.
Lavia, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Can you? Yes, we can hear you. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How's everybody?
Doing great.
Good.
Tell us what's going on with you. Tell us about your career in EEOC.
Okay. Well, I'm the management support specialist for our district, the Birmingham district office. I been there with EEOC since 2014. I came on as a non-paid work experience through the VA. So I worked there for maybe 6 months, non-paid, but I loved it. I mean, I really loved the agency. I love what it was about. And I'm like, yeah, this is where I need to be. So they told me, well, you only have to do 20 hours. I said, no, I'm gonna give y'all 80 because I'm about this bit. I'm about the business. I like what y'all doing here. I'm gonna be here with y'all every day so I can learn. But I'm a 22-year military veteran of the United States Navy. I'm a war veteran, 4 different wars. So I'm a disabled veteran. And I just love what I do. I work for, like, of course, the Birmingham district, and we do amazing work here at the home of the civil rights movement. So we're actually really, really busy all the time. But I mean, great. Thank you all for having me being part of it. I'm really enjoying it. I forgot you all on Eastern time. I'm Central time. That's why I'm like, wait a minute. I said, oh my God.
Sorry.
It's Eastern time. I can get on now because I'm late already. But thank you all, and good morning to everybody.
Livia, can you talk about just something that stands out to you, an experience that you had at the EEOC that really stays with you, that maybe is in your heart that you want to share with us?
The thing, let me turn this up because I couldn't really hear what you said, what you asked me.
Livia, can you hear me?
Now I turned it up. I can hear you now.
Okay, can you share with the group like a special memory, an accomplishment, something that you were maybe a part of or that you experienced at the EEOC that really moved you or that stayed with you that you can share with us?
Well, basically just really seeing the investigators, how hard they work for the charging parties. I mean, trying to make sure everything is okay. Is that it's not one thing that's really is memorable to me. It's just that whole mission of the agency itself, seeing the hard work. Now, when I was younger and heard about EEOC, really didn't know what they did. I even filed a claim myself years ago. It was just funny that I looked up and found myself in there, but it's just the tremendous work that everybody put in. I mean, I have seen some investigators really carry some of their charging parties issues on their shoulders where they really lose sleep or work so hard. I mean, way past duty to make sure that they get it right. So it's just that the hard work of everybody in our agency, from, the director on down to the OAAs, it's everything. It's all about it. They knew that I was in the right place when I chose to work for this agency. So glad that I was chose out of the group of veterans that wanted to be there. I mean, even though, like I said, it was non-paid, but I didn't care about that. It was just about the mission and what we were about, helping people who are being discriminated because on these jobs. And it's just so heartbreaking to hear some of the stories what people actually go through on these jobs. They're being discriminated. Well, no, it's whether it's sex discrimination or race discrimination, wherever it is. I mean, it's just that it's really people in companies that mistreat their workers. And it's so sad. And the thing too is the Youth at Work program, that's the best thing that ever could have happened for young adults or just kids with their summer jobs. You'll be so surprised how many kids come in because it's a summer job, I guess these people think that they can hit on these little girls or boys and say the things that they say, and the kids being scared. They want their summer job, or they just working for the first time, so they want to earn their money, so they so afraid to talk. It just only take one to stand up and they see what happens. But it's, like I said, it's just so much that I carry in my heart about this agency that I love. But youth at work, man, it's awesome. I'm telling you, it's great. And we getting it out there. We putting it out there. We letting these kids know you are not alone. We're out here with you, and they are not going to do you any. So I love it. So I know it was a long story, but I'm just saying, that was a passion of mine. Kids, don't get me started with you and don't do nothing to them. I got a problem with that. Well, I don't care how old they are. Mine's in their 30s. I got young adults. I got, my oldest is 37 and my baby is 26. So I mean, I'm still about these children, and youth at work, it's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Lavia. You know, I mean, everything you said, you know, is really, there's so many common denominators about this discussion today.
Yes.
You know, if you think about it, and we could pick out several: passion, loving the work, volunteer. I didn't realize we all, you know, kind of had that in us. So that is amazing to me. I want to say that, you know, administration is a huge factor to EEOC. And Lavia represents that branch. We cannot do what we do. You know, we all work together as a, you know, to complete a task, and we have to have our administration. I actually came from the Birmingham district in Jackson, Mississippi. So I'm familiar with Lavia. I actually asked Latoya Loth as well, but she suggested you too. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention that the infamous Lily Ledbetter came out of the Birmingham district. Okay?
Yes, yep.
Which was exciting because I was there when all of this, when she filed her complaint, when all of that. And I did outreach as well when I was an investigator. I had the opportunity of having Lily Ledbetter in Mississippi for my Women's Month event. She was my keynote speaker. That's before she got bigger. I tell the story now, you know, Lily has people. So now when I try to get her, you know, I have to go through people and layers and contracts and money. But then, and I'm trying to find footage for that. But yeah, the infamous Lily Ledbetter situation started out of Birmingham. She's from Birmingham, and that whole thing snowballed from there. So it is considered the crust of the civil rights movement, is which we consider Mississippi, Alabama, those southern states. So it was really great working in those offices. Lavia, it's so good to see you. And thank you for your service, veterans. I didn't know some of you are
Navy.
Yeah. And the program Lavia came in on, there is a VA program where veterans are assigned to, you know, I don't know the name of it, Lavia, you might, but they are assigned to different agencies as interns almost. And they get experience and kind of that whole sort of internship process. We've had some, and that really works well, as you said. Mm-hmm. It's a great program. If you all are needing some, you know, looking for veterans. And bilingual is also big, what Katie said. We need bilingual investigators, especially to reach the different vulnerable worker groups that we've reached, and to get their, what's the word I'm looking for them to feel comfortable with us, you know, someone that can speak their language. We actually not only do Spanish, but we are available in many languages. So our bilingual is probably the most sought after language that we have. So they are very important to the commission as well. Michelle, did you want to jump in?
Sure, I'll be real quick. This is Michelle Walden-Patterson from the Office of Field Programs, and my current position is a program analyst, which is sort of the jack of all trades. In the Office of Field Programs, we're responsible for the program mission areas that our field staff support, and execute on a daily basis. That includes outreach and education, training, and also hearings. So I've been with the commission since 1994. So I've been with the commission in slightly different positions, coming in as a Schedule C political appointee at the time, working for Office of the Chair. And then I've kind of worked my way around the agency. I did have a stint in the field as the intake supervisor in the Washington field office. And that has sort of informed my position now greatly in terms of the work that the agency does for everyone. We can't do and be who we are without our field staff. And so one of the things that's sort of a soft side to me in terms of our positions that we have the investigators, the mediators. We support everything that they do in the field. And I am also grateful to be at the agency in terms of the mission. That's why I've stayed consistently and I'm here. And I'd like to get to Q&A, see if folks have questions.
To Q&A, does anyone have any questions so far?
Anything you want to ask that you were afraid to ask now.
I wanted to ask, does anyone, as far as internships in your offices, have you experienced having interns in your offices at all? I know, Monica, you have. Yeah. And how did you get those interns?
We do a lot of recruiting. We go to career fairs. We get the word out. We have a lot of contacts and yeah, a lot of word of mouth too. We love our interns and we put them to work. There's no just answering phones all day. It's you're an intake, right, Michelle? I'm sure probably when you were a supervisor. So it's a great experience, it really is.
Yeah, yeah. I think we have a lot of legal interns in our legal department, which is not represented here. They have them constantly and in every department. I wanted to just say hello to Tanya Lennox, who's on the line. She is a supervisor with EEOC, and she, hi Tanya, she has interns all the time. Tanya, you want to say a few words?
Oh, yes. Hi, thank you, Terry. Hi, everybody. I'm Tanya Lennox. I'm currently in the Baltimore field office as enforcement supervisor, also helping out in the Philadelphia district. Recently left Raleigh. So I did a lot of outreach with Tom Kokloff and Terry, and you're absolutely right, Monica. It helps to attend a lot of the career fairs at the colleges. Sometimes they have a lot of questions, and meeting their contact person with the department, if they're majoring in human resources or political science or pre-law. A lot of times it's good to know who their chairpersons are, and you meet with them and talk with them, as well as those that belong to the assurance groups. And then they, like you said, the word of mouth, they have these career fairs where you sit down for 5 minutes and they change up and they speak to different people. And so that's how we were able to get a lot of interns, undergraduates, and also, like you said, law students from Central University. We got a lot of our students there, as well as Duke, North Carolina State. We didn't get as many at St. Aug and Shaw University, but NC State, they were rampant. They're constantly sending emails that they're interested in. Word of mouth is really good. When they see your face, or if you speak in one of their classes, then when the class is over, you're loaded with emails.
Thank you, Tanya.
You're welcome.
I also want to mention that we have a fellow outreach person on the line, Terry Dandy. She also does what Monica and I do, but she represents the Atlanta district office. So she's on the call. I don't know if she wanted to jump in and mention anything about interns. I don't know if she can get in, but I did want to acknowledge her. Anyone else want to say anything about their internship experience? Tina, have you worked with any interns?
I have. actually was able to recruit a few from some of the fairs at the colleges. One of the challenges that came about, and I spoke with Arlene Glover, who's the local director for the Greensboro local office. There was a challenge in some of the where federal offices are located or EEOC offices are located. And particularly, I'll look at Orangeburg, South Carolina, where South Carolina State University is positioned. We don't have any federal offices. There are EEOC offices or satellite offices. And the closest offices are either Charlotte or our Greenville office. And so our agency, while we don't offer paid internships, I would really love to see some growth where maybe we even have satellite offices in places that are out there, because these students, they're missing out on opportunities. And I think we are missing out on a lot of talent because we aren't located in those places. But I have had some success in getting them interested in educating them on what the EEOC is and what we do.
That's awesome. And that's a good point. We've heard that before. Location sometimes isn't convenient for students. Now we're doing a lot of virtual internships, which is interesting. So that is a good thing, you know. And as who said that? Someone said interns are working. I think Monica said that, but yeah, they're working. So that's another way that the internships are being done now.
If I could jump in.
Yeah.
In terms of the interns and the substantive work that they have done and still do, we've had interns in the Office of Field Programs, not necessarily someone who is in, you know, looking into law or whatever, but they helped with our new investigator training in terms of getting together materials for our manuals. So it's not, as you said, not just answering the phone and you know, copying jobs. They have research and they get to use their analytical skills as well as communication skills to help us with the work that we do. So it really is a good opportunity.
Right, that's very important.
Can I say one thing about the intern?
Jump in, Katie.
Yeah, I started when kind of a class of interns were coming in. I think that the ones that were working closely with what I was doing were either first or second year law students, but I know that there were other interns in other sectors that weren't necessarily law students, but they were doing, you know, the same thing that I was, and they learned the laws, and they were taking in people who were calling in and having their intake interviews, and they were I mean, one of my good friends is in law school, and I said, you really should look into this internship that they do at the EEOC, because if you're interested at all in like labor law or discrimination law, I mean, they do a really great job, and it isn't just answering the phones. You're doing some really critical thinking. You learn a lot. And I think that from what I get, it is the EEOC was pretty flexible with, you know, obviously it's unpaid, but like with being able to do other things. And if you have to miss a day here or there, like very open with that. I wasn't an intern, but much of what I was doing, they were doing. And I was like, I am a paid employee of the EEOC, and they're getting this wonderful experience. So I think it's an awesome opportunity.
Terry, if I could just add something, you know, every year when we litigate cases, we like to acknowledge where did the case start, you know, obviously at intake. I'm telling you, there are so many cases that started with an intern doing that first interview. It's like, wow, that's where it started, you know? And unfortunately, by the time we get to litigation, you know, the interns are gone, but I just want to put that out, you know, they're very critical and they have taken charges for really important cases. So we love our interns.
Michelle.
I was going to say, in terms of how important the interns are, our Youth at Work program actually was a brainchild from a couple of interns way back when. One of them is one of our esteemed attorneys in the Office of Legal Counsel. I'll give her a shout out, Lisa Schnall. But in terms of the logo and conceptualizing that whole program, that came out of work that interns were doing.
Wow, I didn't know Lisa was an intern. She's amazing. I have to give her a shout out email. Yeah, interns, carry a lot of weight with EEOC, and they have forever. So, and the possibilities are limitless, right, Tina? So I just think that coming from interns' perspective and all different career perspectives, that internships is a way to get started, even if it's non-paid. The possibilities could be endless, and don't disregard the opportunity because it's not a paid situation. Is a key message. And I think we can probably, if everyone wants to jump in and give some parting wisdom or messages to anyone who may view this event from the recording, as encouragement. We want to take the time and do that? Okay. Tina?
Welcome to EEOC. I would say this is an excellent place to work, to learn multiple facets for things that can grow. The EEOC is one that allows you to bring in creativity and creative ideas to even help expand what we do, or even think about it differently. I love mediation, but we all work together as a team for this one mission. And I think this is the most dynamic, diverse place to work.
Thank you, Tina. Monica?
My parting words of wisdom: if you really want to make a difference in our world, I mean, really, I'm not saying that lightly, consider the EEOC. We don't find discrimination every day, but when we do, and we can call that charging party and let them know, it's a great feeling. We made a difference in someone's life. Or even in mediation, when there's communication between parties, that's a success too. And we see those at the EEOC. You can't go wrong.
Lavia?
Yes. I also would like to, I just want to just add as well that you want to work for a good agency, EEOC is it. I mean, if you want to see the inside of the organization or these businesses and know how they operate, EEOC, inside scoop, you will see what's going on, and you will be a very valuable resource to all employees and employers as well. So consider it. The agency, EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, hey, great place to work.
Thank you. Tanya, did you want to have any parting words? Unmute. Tanya.
Okay, sorry, here we are, sorry. What I want to say is that the internship is also not just for college students, high school students, law students, and it gives you an opportunity to work closely with experienced attorneys, investigators, in a variety of diverse assignments, projects. It also gives you an opportunity to develop skills and interact and correspond with the commission stakeholders, or even public policy and developments. It's absolutely a great place to work and to experience, and you get a lot from it no matter what major you're in.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tanya. Did we miss anyone? Terry, I don't know if you can hear me, if you wanted to say anything. Michelle?
I just wanted to say that we're open for business. We're not going away, especially now in what's going on in our country. We are really needed as an agency in terms of employment discrimination enforcement, both to let our employees know what their rights are and the employers. So we are not going away.
Did we have any other questions from the group? Anyone who's on the call? I think I'm gonna let say a few things and let Katie take us home. She wants to finish it up. No questions? Well, I just want to say that EEOC.gov is full of all things EEOC. Is updated regularly. It's a great source of information. USA Jobs, of course, is a tool to use for any employment that might be offered. As you heard, veterans, there are veterans programs available. You can reach out to your local EEOC office in regards to internship information, and we welcome you. Thank you all so much. Katie, take us home. Close us out.
All right, take us home, back to our offices, back to our couches or wherever we are. But no, I appreciate being offered to speak, and it was really cool. There's a lot of people who spoke who I haven't met most people at the EEOC. I know Monica, but everyone else has been super great. And I think that in listening to, these ladies speak, you almost think, oh, it's too good to be true. Like, they're so nice. But that's how everyone is at the EEOC. Really, really nice, really respectful. And what people are saying is what they think. I don't think that you'd want to do this job if you really didn't believe in what you're doing, because it can be taxing and it's emotional, and like someone had said, like, you think about it when you shouldn't be thinking about it. So the people that work at the EEOC, really believe in what they're doing, and definitely keep your eye out on USA Jobs and internships and things like that. It's a really good place to work, and I'm really fortunate to be here.
Well, thank you all so much. Thank you, Katie, for that. Give yourselves a round of applause for one of the best panels. Great information. And, look at our schedule. If you get on the WHOVA app and the conference information, you can see other events that we have scheduled coming up this week. But I want to thank you all so much for sharing this great information and leaving this wealth of resourceful knowledge and details for anyone that might view this event moving forward. Have a great day.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.